The topic of today's webinar is helping doctors with their revenue and how in the process you're able to earn up to a six-figure, not up to, you could actually go more than that, but to earn a six-figure income in your own business. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about American Business Systems. It too has been around for a little bit of time, just over 26 years. So any business that you're trying to get involved with, obviously longevity of that particular business is an area that you want to pay close attention to. With that, again, my name is Eric Auger. So let's talk about some of the people that have joined American Business Systems over the last 26 years. Folks, as you can see here, we've had folks from coast to coast, all walks of life, all nationalities, and we've helped people old, young, in the middle to get started in their billing business here with American Business Systems, all based upon a cloud-based type of system. Now, this is unique because, again, a lot of the billing systems that are out there are still somewhat server-based. Even one of our competitors that we have some competition going back and forth with, they're still using a server-based system. But the importance of, obviously, you can imagine right now during COVID, you're not always able to keep up with your server there at the office. So imagine being able to look at, be able to see your patients, keep up with your patients, and do the doctor's billing all through not having to go to an office and keep up with the server. So it's very, very important about that. Well, folks, my co-host this afternoon is going to be none other than the founder and the CEO of American Business Systems, Patrick Phillips. He and his wife started this business well over 26 years ago. They've been in medical billing for nearly 30 years now. In the 30 years, he's written several books. One of the first books he ever wrote was How to Reprogram Yourself for Success, which is still an incredible book for you to read. We've got The New Thriving Medical Practice and Cash Crunch to Cash Flow. He's also a contributing editor and writer for the BC magazine, which is a billing and coding magazine that goes out every bi-monthly. And he's also the co-founder of the Medical Revenue Managers of Association of America. That's MERMA. That's the folks that actually certify you as a medical revenue manager. So without any further ado, there he is. Hey, Patrick, how are you doing this afternoon?
Hey, all right. Had to turn on a light here. I don't know why, but it's really dark in my office here, so I have to use a little spotlight there for me when I'm on these webinars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Eric, this is a pretty exciting one for those of you who are looking to start a business, and if you're looking to make some money working from home. Eric, our licensees are loving this right now. Not that they have to stay at home with their kids, but they do love working from home and being able to run their entire business from anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. I don't know many businesses you can say that with.
Right.
So, yeah. Hey, I wanted to start out, Eric, by talking about Dave Ramsey, because Dave is a famous writer. You can go out on Amazon and type in Dave Ramsey, and you'll see all the books he's written. As you can see, it's all about money. He's a financial advisor, I guess you'd call him, for people who want to get their money in order, their budgets and so forth. And look what he says in one of his books here. He says, the worst thing we can do is get a second job. The best thing we can do is start a home-based business.
Right.
Now, that's not Patrick Phillips saying that or Eric Auger. This is a guy who should know, right? Don't go out and try to find a second job. Start a home-based business. If you can find one that's reasonably priced and that you can, know there's going to be a future to it. This is not Eric, I always think of this as this is not one of those gimmicky things, that just comes and goes.
Right.
There are a lot of those types of businesses out there, but this one in healthcare, helping doctors collect their revenue, man, that ought to be around, I guess, forever. As long as there's sick people going to the doctor and the doctor has to get paid and somebody has to bill those entities, the insurance companies and the government agencies, I think this business will be around another 26 years at least.
Oh, absolutely. And obviously now with the pandemic that we have going on right now, it's still going. It kind of comes and goes, and some states are worse than others. And we're seeing those that are sometimes within those states, our licensees are seeing an increase of getting the doctors actually asking them for help now. So there is a lot of things you can do right now and to help the doctor, whether it's with the billing, whether it's helping the doctors with collections, gosh, even with their marketing, Patrick. I mean, the doctors are still needing to try to figure out how to market because, again, their patients are not always able to come to the office. And then with telehealth on top of that as well, we know that that can be all part of the revenue management of that doctor's office.
Yeah, we have licensees who say that they're meeting with doctors virtually, just
Yep.
like you and I are meeting right now using Zoom and other technology. So you don't have to be face to face with those doctors. So we got to talking amongst ourselves. Me and Eric were saying, look, is this a good time to start a company?
Right.
So we found an article to that effect. I think this was back in May.
Yep.
It says why it might not be such a crazy idea to start a business right now.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to say people starting a company in the midst of a global economic crisis is the last thing on their lockdown to-do list. But Eric, as you know, we're having a lot of people signing up for our online training right now. And there have been people signed up for it even during the COVID that have signed up doctors already. This article is basically saying that the virus outbreak could pave the way for new tech ventures focused on healthcare and medicine. Now, we didn't write this article, folks. This is from CNBC.
Right.
And so, anyway,
Folks,
it's a good article. You should go see that. There's the link, by the way. We've put the handouts, I think, Eric, over there in the handouts section of the control panel today. So go look under the handouts section, folks, and you can download these slides and you can see that link, up close, zoom in and go see this article. Here's another one from the New York Times. Is a pandemic the right time to start a business? It just might be, it says. In March, as small businesses across the country were shutting down, this lady was about to open up a business.
Yeah, and I tell you that what we're starting to see, whether it's in healthcare or whether any other businesses, people always are looking for new opportunities during somewhat of a disruption, and that's what these people are finding.
That's a good way to put it, Eric. We've had other disruptions, haven't we? The recession of 2008 and 9, all these things that happened that we've been through as a company actually grew us. I mean, we actually started even growing even further and faster because every challenge that's out there also has opportunity built into it. As you can see from these statistics here, a lot of people have already started up businesses since March of this year. 1 billion in sales for businesses that started during this time.
Right. Let's see what else they got. Here are some of the ones that actually started during some issues.
Yeah. We've even illustrated that. Folks, think about this. Look at this next slide and answer this question. What do all of the? Oh, here's another quote. I'm sorry. I probably wouldn't want to. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if we've got that slide in there, but I think I know what you're talking about here. But you're kind of just talking about what do a lot of these companies have in common.
Yeah, it says past turndowns produce some of the high-profile American companies. So, folks, Disney, General Motors, Hewlett-Packard, Microsoft, Uber, you've heard of those, Airbnb. Those companies started during recessions, hard times. So it doesn't mean that you can't start a business. It's just a little bit more challenging to people's thinks. I think mentally people don't go, oh, I think I'll start a business. But I tell you what, Eric, after going through this, a lot of people are starting to say, I should have had a business working from home a long time ago.
You bet. And so, folks, what we're going to do right now, again, we're just a little over 10 minutes into the webinar right now. Let me remind you that we do have a question box, and we want you to use that question box at any time during the webinar. So feel free to ask us questions. Patrick is going to be monitoring those questions. I'll be monitoring those questions. So at any time during the webinar today, feel free to ask us any questions. Remember, this is your webinar, and because you're the one that's doing the due diligence on trying to figure out if, first of all, do I need to even get into a business? And then if so, where do I get started? So let's kind of talk about what is their ROI potential, Patrick. And some people might not even know what ROI stands for. Let's kind of start right there.
Yeah, ROI, return on investment. In other words, how long does it take you to get the money back that you invested in a business. Like take a restaurant. You open up a restaurant, you could spend what, Eric? I don't know, $100,000 on
Yeah.
real estate and remodeling and so forth. And how long would it take you to earn that back? You got to sell a lot of sandwiches, you
Yes.
know, to get your ROI potential. But in this business, as you'll see here, folks, we're using our website there at absystems.com to go into the income potential area. There's a little calculator there, and we're going to talk about how you can earn back our investment. By the way, Eric, we haven't talked about this. Sometimes we forget that people may not have researched our website like they should have, but folks, there's a whole section there on how much is the investment, what do you get, and so forth. You might want to look at that, but it's around $28,000. This is like a franchise, folks. A franchise has a fee that you pay up front. We do too. It's called a licensing fee. We're not a franchise, but it's the same thing. You have an upfront investment. And for that, we'll show you all the stuff that you get and how quickly can you make that $28,000 back. That's what we're talking about here.
Absolutely. All right, so what you're going to want to do is go to our website. It's absystems.com. So just go there. You'll see on that title bar right through there, you'll see about us and business package and then income potential. So you can click on there. Obviously, these are just screenshots. So what we've done, we're going to start small. We're just going to start with one doctor, and then we'll work up some of these numbers a little bit later throughout the presentation. But let's just say that you get one doctor that's seeing about 25 patients a day, and still on average, the doctors that are actually seeing patients, even during the pandemic, are still seeing anywhere from 20, 25 up to 30 patients a day. Some of them are actually getting more in because, again, they can have their staff get somebody on a telehealth visit. They may be able to see some folks in the office a little bit. So they're actually producing a little bit more here. And I think we're going to see how this whole COVID pandemic is actually going to change the landscape of how doctors actually see you as a patient. But if you got 25 patients in there, they're open 5 days a week, you would be charging that doctor on average, and this is actually on the low end, about 6% of the average claim of $100. And if you click on that, and you click on submit, Patrick, that starts generating on a yearly gross income of about $39,000. Now, why that may not sound so significant, it does get your return on your investment. You want to talk about the investment, Patrick, and then how that actually puts people in the black part of instead of in the red.
Yeah, so within the first year, folks, assuming that the doctor had the numbers that you just saw there, and like Eric said, the 6% is on the low end. We have licensees who charge 7, 8, 9%. But at even the 6%, you're making $39,000. Again, that's a gross revenue number, but that's more than the 28,000 in your first year. And again, This is not anything I would get real excited about. There may be some people who earn not much more than that in a full-time job, but remember, you're working from home. And Eric, let's talk about how long it would take them to do that, or is that further down the line?
Yeah, I would say, folks, you got to understand to do this part-time, to work one doctor, you're going to be averaging about 2 hours a day of work. So imagine just only working about 2 hours a day and working and making $3,200 a month. That's pretty good money for working about 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week, 40 hours in the entire month. So if you can think about that, then you go, okay, what are we going to do to get the next doctor? And then we move from there.
Right. Hopefully you want to sign up more than one doctor. Eric, as you know, I've interviewed many, many licensees over the years, and we just recently interviewed some that have 15, 20 doctors. So these numbers are very realistic. We take these numbers from just averages so that you can kind of see. We start with one, and as you'll see, we're going to show what happens if you go from there.
Now, we've got a couple of questions here. Let's address these before we move forward. So Mike's got a question. Obviously there's going to be some people that they're trying to figure out, if I've got the cash right now and I want to invest this money, obviously how quickly can I get this turnaround? What I would suggest, Mike, is work with your business coach that you're working with right now. They'll be able to kind of work with you very closely on your personal financial structure of what you want to do and some of the goals that you want to try to do. I can tell you, though, with some of the newer services that we have, we're starting to see some of our licensees get in front of the doctors immediately. And because of that, they're helping those doctors get going. And then obviously that's opening up the door for you to get their medical billing. Matthew's asking, after the initial purchase, what would be recommended capital to start up training after training, such as a marketing capital as an example? So, Patrick, you want to kind of talk about after they've actually purchased, they've gone through training, how much money do you think they might need in marketing money?
You know, that varies on whether somebody's working this full time or part time and how quickly they want to get clients. But Eric, we've had people spend nothing. We include over 2,000 pieces of marketing materials that you can use to build your business. But let's say you wanted to set up a LinkedIn page and maybe you want to spend a little bit of money on advertising for that. You could
Right.
spend $400 or $500, you know, to do some Facebook or LinkedIn advertising. There's not a whole lot of money that you're going to need, assuming you have a computer and a cell phone. That's what you need equipment-wise to run this business, and maybe a printer. That would be helpful for some things, of course. But most of this is all paperless anyway. You don't have to print out anything, but those are just the basics. And most people have that anyway. Yeah.
You bet. All right. So what we're going to do, because a lot of you are going, okay, so how did you come up with those numbers? So we're going to give you the math. We're going to show you how all of this works here, and then we're going to roll into some of the questions. Even with Saeed, you've got a question about, okay, so if all doctors are already doing billing, how are you going to get a doctor? Well, what we're going to show you is some of the secrets. Now we can't share all of the secrets, but we're going to share with you what's going to make you different, what's going to make you stand out there. So let's just kind of go back to talking about how are you going to get to that money of that $39,000 a year. So if you got one doctor who will on average, again, we'll see about 25 patients a day. Each one of those patients for the doctor is valued at about $100 per patient, because if you take the average of what they get reimbursed on Medicare and then what they get reimbursed like with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then you mix in there some cash pay patients, Patrick, you know, and we're using a low number here. You know, when we go to the doctor, we're spending more than $100. It's probably $150 to $175 now.
Yeah, I think we came up with these figures when we created that little income calculator on our website like 8 years ago. So
Right.
that probably needs to be adjusted up to $175, $200 for a visit to a doctor. Yeah.
And you've got 25 patients. That's $2,500 a day for the doctor. So if you think that in terms of that 6%, so if you take $2,500 per day at 6%, you're making $150 a day, again, for less than 90 minutes. So if you kind of just keep doing that calculation out, you're going to find out that you're going to be getting out to that $39,000 a year. So $150 per day times 5 gets you to $750 a week times 52 weeks. There's your $39,000. So you can see how just over a little bit of time, over a little bit of work, and about 90 minutes of work a day, you're going to see you're going to be making very close to anywhere from 40, and I'd probably say even closer to $50,000 per doctor a year.
Yeah. By the way, Sonny is saying, what's the net based on the 39,000 gross?
Oh, that's a good question.
That depends on your expenses, of course. That could be that all the expenses that you have are included in that. In other words, we're saying that you're actually going to bring that money in, and assuming you're doing all the work, Sonny, that you're not hiring somebody to do the billing for you, which a lot of our licensees do that, then all of that is yours. Now, there are some fees that the doctor pays, of course, to access our system. That's something you pass on to the doctor, so that's not a cost for you.
Right, absolutely. And again, we're going to teach you in that live training, that online live training, our trainer, who is also a licensee, who has modeled everything that we're talking to you about today, has become very successful at it, and has even improved a lot of the things that we have taught in the past. Obviously, she's going to be able to kind of talk with you through all of that, how to make sure that when we're talking 39,000, that's about what you're getting, because a lot of the overhead stuff that you're going to be doing is passing through to the doctor outside of, you know, your internet and stuff like that.
Right.
All right. Well, let's kick this up to 3 doctors. Again, we're going to just do the same thing. We're going to look at, okay, so what's going to happen if you've got 3 doctors? The only thing that we're changing here is the number of doctors. So you'll see how quickly this is going to get you to where I think most people are going to want to be. So you take 3 doctors, seeing 25 patients, open 5 days a week, still the 6% that you're charging of $100, and you're going to submit that. When you do that, Patrick, at that time, it kind of hits that magic number for most folks, and that's that six-figure income. With
Right.
3 doctors, you're at $117,000, almost $10,000 a month in income.
Yeah. Now, folks, we had a licensee recently sign up a group of 35 doctors in a group. So these numbers, again, are taken from our averages out there from licensees, but it has nothing to do with your ability to make whatever you want to make. You can make this company as big or as small as you want it to be. Some of them are still working out of their home, of course, most of them I would guess, but we've also got licensees who've actually opened up offices. They've rented space because they wanted to hire some people and just have an office to get away from the kids.
Always, absolutely, yeah. But what's going to happen, folks, is, and I know we're not really talking about marketing right now. We're going to be talking about some marketing next week. We're going to talk about why some people fail at their marketing. Obviously, we can only do a little bit of a topic within an hour's time. We can only squeeze so much in there. But what you're going to find is that if you start doing well for one doctor, then that doctor tells another doctor, and that doctor tells another doctor. And we've seen that type of growth, Patrick, where, you know, you've got one doctor that's turned into three that turns into 6, 9, into 10. So we thought, again, because where we see this average for some of our licensees right now is anywhere from 8 to 10 doctors at a time. So we thought we would just let's look at 10 doctors and see what kind of growth that number would be. Again, using that same number there, just taking that through there. Patrick, you know, most people would be ecstatic making 117,000, but with 10 doctors, you're almost at $400,000 a year with a monthly income of about $32,000 a month. So again, we're talking about the potential earnings that you can make by servicing 10 doctors and still be able to do most of this probably with you and one other person. So imagine that you're working, you've hired one other person working with you. Maybe they're just doing data entry so that you can keep up with a few things. Still, you're able to actually pay them, get them a job going on. And obviously, everybody can certainly still work from home.
I think that's what a lot of people like about our business, Eric, is that they can keep it as small as they want, but they can also grow it as large as they wish and employ, you know, their relatives or friends or whoever else that they know that they want to give a job to. Those people can work from their home as well. You don't have to come into an office with this. The doctors don't care where you're working from. In fact, they probably prefer that you stay at home at this point.
Absolutely. You know, we've gone to the doctor, you and I. I've got to take my wife to the doctor tomorrow. I know when we get there, we're going to check in, and then they're going to have us go sit out in the car until they want us to come in there. So, and that kind of goes to what Mike's question is. Do we have to see these doctors in person? Is it recommended that we see these doctors in person? Patrick, why don't you talk about the webinar that we did just this last Friday with Dr. Vicki Rackner and how she recommends on how to market to doctors right now.
Yeah, folks, one of the advantages you have in joining our nationwide network, we're the largest network of independent medical billing company owners in the whole United States. And one of the advantages is you can partner with a doctor. That's right. You can be partners in this business with a doctor. Dr. Vicki Rackner, you can Google her and find out more about her out there on the internet. She's written many, many books, appeared on many television shows. She is an authority in helping people to know how to connect with doctors. She works with a lot of financial planners, for example, that like to have doctors as clients. She has whole courses that she's developed on how to do this digitally. That is, connecting with doctors without ever having to go to their offices. And she covered a lot of that for our licensees last Friday. That'll all be available to you, of course, as an ABS licensee. You have access to all of our past training webinars. And Eric, there must be 100 hours or more of those out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mike, no, you don't have to go see the doctors. I interviewed a fellow just about 3 weeks ago. Look for Dan Elliott on our website blog. Dan Elliott is the guy that I interviewed who says on that webinar that he sent out 3 of our books that you can basically be a co-author on. having written the foreword to the book at least. And you send those books out with your name on the front cover, and doctors will call you up and say, hey, I like what I see here in the book. I'd like to talk to you more about that. And he's had 3 meetings already with doctors from mailing out 3 books in the mail. Now, he did 2 of those meetings virtually, just like using GoToMeeting here or Zoom. One of the doctors asked him to come into the office, and he came in on Saturday, so he didn't have to be around any patients.
Bet.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is as flexible as it gets, folks. When it comes to marketing, we've learned how to get past the gatekeeper, get things into the hands of the doctor, educational materials that makes them look at you as the expert.
You bet. Yeah. Saeed, you're asking a great question here. And again, let me remind everybody, please type some questions in here. We love answering your questions. Saeed's asking, is ABS only for PCP? Well, folks, that's primary care physician. Or what about urgent cares and diagnostic centers? So let's talk about real quickly who you can bill for through this platform and use these services for other doctors. So any doctor that's out there in the United States that sees any patients for any type of care, they do a billing on what's called a CMS 1500 form. Whether they're a chiropractor, whether they're a cardiologist, whether they're urgent care, whether it's a diagnostic center, they all bill on a 1500 form, a CMS, that's the Center of Medicare and Medicaid Services. That's the form that they use. So anybody, any doctor, any medical provider that bills on a CMS 1500 form, you can do the billing for. So that's making sure that you understand that. All right, so let's keep going. CMS 1500. Did you say 1500 or 1300? 1500.
If you were paying attention, Eric, you're right. That's a typo. Let me put that in there again. It's the CMS 1500 form.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Google that, folks, and you'll see what that form is. It's like a one-page form that if you can fill that form out, you've done a bill. You've got a bill ready to send to the insurance companies. Yeah.
All right, let's keep going, and we're going to get some more of your questions because, Patrick, let's talk about these other services because these are the other services that actually helps these doctors with their revenue management. Everything from the audit guards to choice pay to code write to obviously iClaim and EMRX, the iDocs now, the QuickCollect, compliancy guard, which has to do with HIPAA issues, and then obviously we've got one of the newer services there, which is the telehealth market. So Patrick, why don't you just kind of give us a quick synopsis of how did all these services come about here real quickly?
Well, you know, we started out, my wife and I, back in the early 90s doing medical billing for doctors ourselves. Then when we started teaching other people to do it, we found out as they went out and talked to doctors, sometimes doctors would ask them, hey, can you help me with my compliancy, with HIPAA compliancy? Can you help me with the audits that Medicare does on things? Can you help me with my marketing? All of those services you see there, folks, we developed for the need that we found in the marketplace. That's how you get rich, right? Find a need and fill it. So all of these are optional. They come in your license. You have access to all of them, and you can make money on each one of these services. Some of them, you don't make as much money as you would the billing, but hey, it's a foot in the door. Once you get one of these services installed in the doctor's office, now you're on the inside. You're part of their team.
Absolutely. So folks, all of these different services all come with the package. You don't have to kind of piecemeal these things together. And a lot of people want to know about coding, and is coding going to be an issue? Folks, even the service of coding is all included and all inclusive in the whole package here with American Business System.
Yeah, it's that service you see there called Code Write. Now we're going to talk about a few of these right now, but we'll get to Code Write here in just a second. Let's talk about QuickCollect for example. This can replace a collection agency. This is to collect the money that the patients owe. You know, a lot of patients are self-pay, and some of them have to pay something in addition to what the insurance pays. So there is always money out there that the doctor does not know how to collect from patients. They don't want to turn them over to a collection agency because that's bad PR, right? But this automatically collects those past due accounts and brings in 3 times what any collection agency would normally collect. And it's all done online. It's a cloud-based system. You don't ever pick up the phone. You don't ever call anybody. You don't even mail any letters out. This is all done automatically behind the scenes through QuickCollect.
Or you talk about, it doesn't, it's not good PR for the doctor to send a patient to collections.
Right.
I just found, and the reason I say that, it just happened to me. I found out that I had a negative mark on my credit report for a $52 bill that was never sent to me from a doctor, actually a diagnostic place here in the Fort Worth area. And I came unglued and I called them up. I said, "Are you kidding me? You sent me to collections for a $52 invoice." Oh man, I give it to them.
Yeah. So this is completely different from what you think of as collections, but look at the money that can be made at this. Look, if you had 3 doctors with just 24 accounts per month that they turn over to QuickCollect, you could earn $7.50 per account per month, and you don't do anything. This is what I call mailbox money. And so that's 72 accounts times 750. That's $540 a month, folks. Residual income for you. That's $6,400 a year. And Eric, they literally don't have to do a thing. I say mailbox money. Now it's probably not even a check. It's probably just deposited in their checking account.
Absolutely. But for folks, that's a car payment. If if you're making pretty good money and you want, this pays for things or savings or whatever else you want to be able to do. I mean, that's what you need to be thinking about there. Audit Guard. Let's talk about Audit Guard. We've been kind of talking about coding here. Let's talk about what Audit Guard does.
Yeah, folks, every doctor that sees Medicare patients are under the microscope, and they can be fined up to $10,000 for each infraction. That is, if they've maybe coded wrong, they've over-coded for a particular visit. Maybe they saw the patient for 15 minutes and they coded for 30 minutes, even accidentally. Medicare can come up and fine them for that. So this protects and provides an audit of the physician's current stuff so that they don't have to worry about that. And there's money to be made in that too. Eric, instead of going through all these, I think we just let them download the slides and they can read that and see how we got to that $10,000 a year for that service.
Yeah, let's go into CodeWrite. I mean, CodeWrite, again, is another coding service. Audit Guard protects the doctors from audits. CodeWrite makes sure that they're doing it right the first time. So if you're working with a doctor that needs help with coding, or you need help with coding, obviously that's what you can utilize CodeWrite here. And again, there's another $7,200 right there that you can be making along with that. Then, Patrick, let's talk about iDocs now, because this is one of your favorite services because we use it here at ABS.
Yeah, look, folks, if you ever come and visit us in our office and ask to see the file cabinets, you won't see them because we don't have any. Every piece of paper that comes into our office is either an electronic document to start with, or we scan it in as a piece of paper into iDocs now. So think of this as an online storage bin, but much more robust than Dropbox or some of those other storage things that are out there. This will let you search these documents by keywords and share it with other people in your office. It's just a fantastic way. So the doctors can basically, instead of storing their paper in their office and taking up all that space, they can just store it in iDocs now. And you can make money on this service as well. Again, all these that we're talking about so far, Eric, they haven't done a thing behind the scenes, the licensee.
Yeah, this is going to be something that I think is going to be important for us as we're moving forward, because I think more and more doctors are going to be seeing patients online. We may have another real big breakout of a pandemic. Who knows what's going to happen there? Doctors still need to get to those files. What better way to get to those files than online? They are secured. They're all HIPAA compliant. Every service that we're talking about today is a HIPAA compliant part of it. Now, talking about marketing, again, Patrick, people are asking already on the questions, well, how am I going to get doctors? And again, how can I market to these doctors during these times? And we've already talked about one of what Dr. Vicky said, but AutoCard or using the books that we have, this is all automatic.
This one's a tough one for people to wrap their brain around because it's an online system in the cloud. Basically, you can log in from any computer anywhere in the world and actually send out, though, physical greeting cards and postcards. So you can offer this to doctors as an automatic follow-up system to their patients. And they all can be personalized. You can schedule them to automatically go out. You don't do anything for them folks but set it up for the doctor. And as you can see, you can make money on it as well. So we wish we could go every one of our services, but that's enough to give you a feel. If you take that compared to what you could make with 3 doctors, we've projected that for you. There's $152,000 a year just from 3 doctors if you offered them all these different services. So folks, there's money to be made in this business every which way you can think of. And the nice thing, Eric, is this is why we only have a one-time fee. This license fee I mentioned earlier, the $28,000, folks, is one time. You never pay anything more ever again to ABS. We don't have royalties. We don't have any service fees. We don't have any user seats. We don't have any updates to the software, support, training. All of that's included in that $28,000 fee, lifetime. And the reason for that is because we make money on all these services as well. A few pennies on each one of them, but it mounts up. We've got several hundred licensees from coast to coast. Hey, Eric, before we go too far, I want to get back to some of the questions here. We got some great ones coming in here. I'll just take them in the order I see them here. But Syed says, all doctors have a billing system. How can I get a doctor? Well, Syed, every doctor already does billing themselves. You're right, in their own office, using their own staff, or they've already outsourced it to somebody else. So how come we see doctors signing up with our licensees every week? It's because we have ways of showing the doctor that their system they're using now is more expensive than what you would charge them and does not collect all that we can collect. Most doctors leave 20–30% of their revenue on the table and just write it off at the end of the year. We collect up to 98% of that. So more money for the doctor, and that's how we sign them up.
Well, I went ahead and brought up this slide because that's kind of the next section that we're getting to is, the New England Journal of Medicine says that out of how much money's wasted on just administrative expenses and billing expenses, 24 cents out of every dollar. So folks, you got to understand that's 24% of every dollar. You're charging 6% of every dollar to make
6 to 8%, right?
So that you get more money.
Right. And Eric, this next slide shows you folks side by side what it costs for a doctor to do the billing in-house versus what you would charge them. And as you can see, the bottom line is the doctor could be spending more than 2 times as much money doing the billing inside their own office. There are a lot of hidden costs that you don't think about, and we point that out to the doctors. And of course, that's one of the reasons why they sign up. Hey, it's cheaper to have somebody else do it, and they say they're going to collect more, and we do.
And obviously, other people are asking, well, what is a rejection rate, and how does this work? Again, to help answer Saeed's question here, why would a doctor ever change if they're already doing billing? Well, one of the questions that we ask that we teach you to ask is, can you find out the doctor what is their rejection rate? And the rejection rate could be as high as you can see here, as up to 35%. Now, if the doctors are losing money 24 cents on every dollar, and then they're getting only 65 to 70% of their money actually in, you're going to be finding that there are going to be some doctors who are going to go, if you've got a better mousetrap to get me more money, I'd be willing to just look at you to change the billing.
Absolutely. John says, do you teach us to do the medical billing, or do you do the billing on our behalf? John, that's an interesting question, because we've had most of our licensees do the billing themselves because we provide the cloud-based system that allows them to do that. However, there are a few licensees that have come through our training, Eric, as you know, that really say, look, I know how to go out and get business. I just don't want to do it myself. And so we even have a solution for that, because as a part of the nation's largest network of medical billing companies, we can hook you up with other licensees who can do the billing for you, at least for a period of time until you get really ready to take it over yourself. And if you do, then of course, we give that all back to you. But that's all worked out between you and the other licensee. We just facilitate that and say, hey, we've got people available to do that if that's what you want.
Sure.
Gosh, the questions are coming in, Eric. I love this.
Yeah.
But what Eric says, what are the this is not you, Eric, it's another Eric. What are the licensees who are not succeeding doing? Well, they're not doing what we teach them to do, Eric.
Yes.
I'll tell you what they're trying to do. They're trying to reinvent the wheel. Eric, we've had people come through, as you know, that say, yeah, I go better than you guys. I don't think that'll work. I'm going to do it my own way. And they'll try that. I've interviewed several people who've said, I tried my own way, Patrick, and then I realized you guys probably know what you're doing. And when I started doing it your way, I started signing up clients. The other people are just people, Eric, believe it or not, there's people who put this on the shelf and really don't do anything with it, even after spending that money. Something else comes up, another bauble, another shiny object,
Yeah.
and they're often running to something else. That happens from time to time too. But anybody who can follow instructions, Eric, and follow our guidance and our training, our coaching, they're going to be successful in this business.
Yeah, and one of the things to discover, you've got to discover, can you even help the doctor? And I think everybody on the call today realizes that if we're even trying to sell something to you, you're going to doubt what we're saying. If not, you wouldn't be asking the questions about, what are you going to do if other people fail, or any of the questions. So you're asking great questions, but again, if we're trying to force this upon you, obviously you're going to doubt us. So what we're trying to do is lead you through a series of discoveries, just how we would lead a doctor into discovery, and that is through a practice analysis. We won't know anything about if we can help a doctor until we do go through this practice analysis. Now, let me share with you a little bit about this practice analysis. What it will do, it'll help that doctor to start thinking about their business. And we need to have that doctor tell us what's wrong with their business instead of us telling them how we are able to come fix their business. So it's all about the entire approach, because if I can tell that doctor that they need me versus me telling that doctor that they need me, it makes all the difference in the world. So We're not going to have anybody force their medical billing business upon people or on doctors. And that's what Patrick's saying. A lot of people who may have failed in this business have not listened to how we've taught them to go do it. They may have gone out there to try to sell the doctor and say, doctor, you need me, or, before doing any discovery. I see, Patrick, a lot of people failing because what will happen is the first thing that the doctor is going to ask you when they find out that you're a medical billing company is, what are you going to charge me to do my billing?
Right.
And if you answer that question, you've already lost.
Exactly.
That's why
that's why Eric has this practice analysis here on the screen. Now, folks, as you can see, it's 3 pages long. We've come up with these questions that you can go in and actually do a practice analysis. In other words, you can ask the office manager these questions, or the doctor, and find out a little bit about what they're doing right now. Then we teach you to come back and put together a proposal. Yeah, with our help, we'll put a proposal together to go back to the doctor and say, okay, based on the answers you gave me, here's what we can do for you. And one of the things we show them is a practice revenue report. Now, that one's kind of tiny there. It's kind of hard to see, but folks, again, get the handouts and you'll see that the bottom line there is 321,000 additional revenue that we could get for this particular doctor. We've blanked out the information there, but this is a real revenue report generated by one of our licensees. So folks, once you plug in the numbers they give you from that questionnaire and take this back to them, what doctor would look at that, Eric, and say, well, no, I don't think I even want to give you guys a try.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If you do it correctly, Eric, that asked the question, or Saeed that's asking the question, or anybody else that's asking the question, why would a doctor change? If you can't prove to them that you're going to increase their revenue, you're never going to make the revenue that we talked about at the first part of the webinar. Right. So we've got to show the doctors that you're there to help them increase their revenue. Patrick, you and I know we've heard from Dr. Vicki Rackner. She's very passionate about doctors getting paid, and she's very passionate about doctors not getting paid right now. And so if you haven't listened to last Wednesday's webinar, folks, we want to encourage you to go back and listen to the webinar that Patrick did as an interview with Dr. Vicki Rackner. You got to go back and listen to that, and then maybe come back and watch this one. And I think it's going to start putting some of these bigger pieces together with you. That's why we've kind of settled in right here. If you can't grasp what this slide is telling you, then you will start off with going in the direction of failure. And we don't want you to do that. We want you to know that we're going to help you. We're going to help you get that doctor to discover how much money you can actually add to their bottom line.
Think about it, folks. We've already shown you that with one client, you can earn your money back. How many businesses or franchises could say that with one client, you could get your return on investment more than your investment? Now, there's a few questions here, by the way, I'm going to address towards the end, Eric, because they have to do with the training, how it's done, and so forth. How do you teach me to get sales reps and so forth? So we're going to talk about all that, but that's one of the things that we want to address is the marketing. Now, folks, in this 1 hour webinar, we can't tell you everything. That's why we're going to give you a link at the end to our YouTube channel. We have all the webinars we've done on all these topics that you're asking in depth. So we'll send you there and ask you to watch some of those videos to get the answers to some of these questions. And since all the questions are gathered here inside this software that we're using and given back to the ABS business coaches, they will be answering your questions by email as well. Okay, Eric, let's talk about what they're actually doing to make this money.
Yeah, let's kind of talk through this. Now, we've got about 10 minutes left, and we want to save a little bit of time. So we're not going to go along in here, maybe 3 or 4 more minutes with the slides, and then we're going to get back with your questions. We'll start wrapping it up here. So just know that we've got about 10 more minutes left. So we want to talk with you about what are you going to be doing to make this type of money. So we're going to use some screenshots to kind of just give you a little overview of what you're going to be doing for these doctors. So one of the things you're going to be doing is working with inside of our entire cloud-based system. That is a practice management system. With that practice management system actually has its own billing foundation. Then you'll see the doctors are going to be working from the EMRX. That's the electronic medical records platform. That's all in the cloud base. Now, what makes this unique is that as a biller, for those that have ever been in billing before, you know that if you're using some software, you're going to have to go find your own clearinghouse. Some people might say that's an advantage. We say it's a disadvantage because our clearinghouse with our billing system works so smoothly to make sure that those claims get directly to those insurance companies. And then plus we have inside built in here is a complete patient portal. So the doctors are using it, the patients are using it, you as a medical billing company is using it. We're using it to get claims directly out to the insurance companies. So it's a one-stop shop. If you can think about it, you don't need any other services or tools to actually get the billing done.
Right. Now, for what you're actually going to be doing, as you'll see here on the next slide, is we actually have ways of handling the forms that are in the doctor's office. You've probably seen something similar to this form here. It's called a day sheet or a super bill. Anyway, It's what the doctor gives you, as to when they see you, what's wrong with you, and what they did for you. All of those items that you see listed there have codes. That's where the coding comes in for medical billing. But all this is sent to you in our system electronically. Now, there are people out there, believe it or not, who are still using paper. We'll show you how to turn that into an electronic document as well. But the doctor is using his iPad, as you can see here in this illustration, to put in those codes. And when he pushes a button, it's sent to the iClaim system, which you have access to do the billing. Now, Eric, talk about the clearinghouse and how advantageous that is for us to have our own clearinghouse over typical clearinghouses, what the rejection rate is.
Well, we wanted to illustrate it as simply as possible. Again, we see the doctor on the left-hand side using an iPad to use EMRX. As soon as that doctor gets through seeing you as a patient and gets done with that visit, then all of that information goes into the iClaim system for you to do the billing. Now, whenever you hit submit out of that iClaim system, it's working itself through our internal clearinghouse. And from here, it's going directly to the insurance companies. It's not leaving our system to go to a clearinghouse and then to an insurance company. So imagine that we're illustrating this to doctors, and I could tell this doctor, whenever you get through seeing your patient, that claim comes directly to me. I take it, and I'm going to send that claim directly to the insurance company. He may even say, well, what clearinghouse do you use? Well, I would tell him that clearinghouse is inside of my system. So whenever I submit your claim, it's not going through another clearinghouse. It's going directly to the insurance company. That's why I can get you paid in less than 7 days, and I can guarantee keeping your rejection rates under 2%. Again, these are advantageous things that will get the doctor's attention.
Now, let that sink in for a minute. Eric just said that our clearinghouse can get less than 2% rejection when we submit those claims. That's unheard of. Eric just showed you a quote earlier where one guy wrote an article that said it could be up to 35% rejection for initial claims. So most clearinghouses don't have much history of clearing those claims like ours does. And John is asking, I can tell John's done some research here because he's asking what's the name of our clearinghouse. We can't give you the name of it. It's called iClaim. It's built into iClaim. That is our clearinghouse that's built into our system, John. No third-party clearinghouse is involved here. Therefore, it doesn't cost you anything for those claims to go through because you don't pay anything to the clearinghouse. Okay, Eric, you want to just show them quickly some screenshots of how the system looks when they're actually using it?
Imagine you just got this claim from the doctor, so we're going to kind of just walk you through here. So you're going to click on right it says billing, and then you're going to go over here where it says enter charges, and we're going to enter professional claim charges. That's what a doctor is. So we get those as what's called a professional claim. Then we're going to start putting in the codes. Remember, we showed you a sheet of paper that was called a super bill. You can enter those codes in manually, or again, if the doctors are using an iPad and they're using EMRX, those claims come directly into here. So the diagnosis codes are correct, and they get put in the correct area. The same thing with what's called the procedure codes. Those procedure codes are inputted by the doctor. It's actually calculated by the EMRX system. So it goes into here. You can see the fees are all there. And then once you're through with that, you're going to click on create claim. And literally at that point, Patrick, if I were doing one of these already, I would have probably already been through with actually processing a claim. It's not going to take me any more than 30, 60 seconds to actually look at the claims that the doctor sent in, check and make sure the diagnosis codes are there, looking at the procedure codes, running a couple of the internal audits that happen with it, and then send it off and click on create claim. And you're basically done with the claim and you're going on to the next one.
Yeah, so as quickly as he went through those screenshots there, folks, that's how quickly you can actually process a claim. Now remember, we will do a demo for you. Since our software is online, we can't send you a link to it because we don't want anybody just messing around with our software. It's pretty proprietary stuff, but we will guide you through using a GoToMeeting like this. We'll meet with you one-on-one and take the time to go through and answer all your questions about our software. You just get back with the person who invited you to this webinar, and we'll show you how to do that here in just a second. Eric, let's talk about the training. Somebody asked, well, how is the 8 training sessions actually done? So LeVar has obviously looked at something that told him there's 8 sessions. Those 8 sessions, by the way, could take anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. They're 60 to 90 minutes apiece, and they're done online, one-on-one. Just like we've gone through these slides today, you'll have an instructor who is a certified instructor running their own medical billing company who teaches you exactly how to use this system. We've got coaches and instructors all across the United States that we connect you with, and they can teach you exactly how to use the system, how to market your business, all of the things that are included. You can find out more about that here. We'll show you how to get more information in just a second. But Eric, we also had people asking about, do you, let's see, one of them says, this is a lot of money, and can you give me more than 30 days to get my money back? Well, first of all, I don't know of any company that will give you a money-back guarantee on a business opportunity, because folks, you can go through our entire 8 modules of training, learn all of our proprietary information, and get all kinds of access to handouts and videos and other things as you go through that. And still, at the end of the training, if you don't like it, you get your money back, within 30 days. So basically, you can do the training. Some people get through that in 2 weeks. But the point is, we do offer a 100% money back guarantee. If you don't like this, once you've seen it, all of it, and don't like it for any reason, just ask for your money back. That's happened a handful of times in the last 26 years. So it really does, it really is a solid guarantee.
Well, I want to add something to that, because Saeed, before that we even had online training, you would have come to a live training class for 5 days, and at the end of that live training class, you had that decision to whether you're going to keep it or you want to ask for your money back.
Right.
Actually, during the live training, the online training, you could go up to 30 days before you even decide whether this is the right business for you or not. Right. So it's actually been extended since we've gone online from 5 days to 30 days. And so, that's really in the world of franchises or business opportunities,
nobody
that's why,
does that. Nobody does that. No. In fact, folks, if you're talking with any other company who says they have a way of training you and teaching you how to do medical billing, just ask them, well, if I don't like it, at the end of 30 days, can I get my money back? See what they say. If they say no, then you should ask why. There's got to be a reason. We believe so much in our business and what it can do for you. We believe that you'll have sold yourself in those 30 days that this is the right decision. And if it's not, then get your money back and move on. We don't want your money. We want you to be happy and be successful in whatever business you start.
Patrick, why don't you kind of go through these next steps for people, and we'll wrap up with a couple more of these questions as we wrap it, because it's 5 o'clock already.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll just really go through these. By the way, we do want to answer as many questions as we can today, folks, so just hang in there. If you have to leave, of course, I want to at least tell you that you can get a copy of this booklet, which we printed out, this one, but it's an online PDF manually booklet that you can get from your ABS rep. Now, Eric, it just dawned on me that we forgot to put the email address and the phone number on this slide. If you could pause that and do that, we'll stick that on there as well. We rehashed these slides from one week to the other, and we just forgot to do that on this one. But this is a great guide. It's over 50 pages of information that you won't find on our website. So ask for the research guide. Now, I told you we had a YouTube channel. Go out there to it. It's youtube.com/whyabs. So write that down, whyabs. That's all you need to remember if you go to YouTube, whyabs. And look at all the webinars that we've done in the past. Browse through those and watch as many as you can. I just welcomed a new licensee today, Eric, on the phone. And he said, you know what, I watched hours and hours of your webinars out there. It's fantastic, the research that you can do on this business. Then be sure and ask your ABS rep for an owner reference list. We'll give you a list of other licensees from coast to coast who've agreed to take phone calls from people like yourself who are looking at getting into the business. And you can ask them anything you want. Then ask for the live demo of our system. We told you we'd show the software to you. Your ABS rep can give you that demo and set that up for you. And then be sure and lock in your first live online training session. Now, folks, we have an instructor who's teaching this right now that's been in this business for 10 years. She's taught for us for the last 5 years. You will love her. Her name's Cynthia, and she will teach you everything you need to know about this business. She's got a very successful business, and she'll tell you all about her business as well. If you want her to teach you, you got to lock it in as quickly as possible. Even if you're putting your funds together and you're still making sure that this is what you want to do and researching and so forth, calling some of our references, just get back with your rep and say, look, let's lock in a date. I'm pretty sure I'm going to move forward and I'll have my funds by next week or 2 weeks from now or whatever, and get a date locked in for that. There's the phone number you can call. And you can also send an email to info@absystems.com.